Hey guys, what's up? This is Chaos here. We're back here with another one. This is album review number 24, Down Nola. Now, let me get into this introduction. I would like to start off to say I really like this album, and it's a pretty cool and decent sludge album, and this is a pretty cool sludge band. I like to say that this album is really emotionally heavy. It has screaming like Pantera, but also it slows down at times and gets really soft at times with songs and stuff. Other than that, now let's get into this album. The first song is called Temptation's Wings. Now, the meaning of the song necessarily that I have found out is how Phil was at the time, or for a good while, living his lifestyle, and how he saw that he had to necessarily change himself. He was addicted to heroin, and I'm sure he was doing a bunch of other things too, not just that. He truly started to work on himself, and not just that, the media was saying a bunch of stuff about his addiction and stuff, but so when that was all going on, he made the Great Southern Trendkill with Pantera, and that's essentially what I'm pretty sure the song is about. Is about the media bashing him for his heroin addiction necessarily. But off of that, off track, let's get back into the song. It's about his personal struggles with becoming a decent human being. My personal number review of this song, I like to say, is an 8 out of 10. Now, with that being said, let's get into my favorite, most personal song off of this album, called Underneath Everything. The meaning of this song to me is a soldier coming back from war. He's extremely poor with no job, and most of these soldiers usually end up killing themselves because they can't get a job, they can't get anything, But a lot of the time when this happens, it's essentially because they didn't necessarily get to finish school or get to go into college because they were in a war. That's typically what I've seen, but even then when you come back and you're just thrown into society, like with prison, when you come out and you're just thrown into society, how are you going to get a job? How? That's basically the same thing with that I necessarily see with war, and it's sad because we don't have enough programs for things like this, and enough programs for people who comes out of prison, and a lot of the time it's you have PTSD and you just don't know how to conform with society and become a productive person. It really shows and reflects how much of a shitty country the United States necessarily is. To me, it's pretty pathetic that we can't even help our own soldiers get a job. How do you expect them to get a job in the first place when they just came out of war? It's really stupid. War is for stupid reasons. Other than that, I really like this song. My personal number review of this song is a 10 out of 10. Now, with that being said, those are my thoughts about the song and my basic review of the song. Now let's go into Stone the Crow. This song doesn't necessarily have a real meaning, and they needed an extra song, right? And so Phil just wrote some stuff, right? Now, this is their most famous song of all time. With that being said, a lot of people think that this song is about some kind of deep pain, but necessarily to Phil, the song meaning for him has changed over the years depending on his life. Now, my honest number review of this song is an 8 out of 10. Now let's go into Swan Song. The meaning yes, it's actually called that, but the meaning of this song is about somebody being very depressed necessarily and trying to find ways to kill themselves, but in the end, they try to look at the better of things, and they try to call on God to help them to change themselves. It's a really emotional song. Now, I'm not sure if this is connected to Phil, but I'm sure it is in some kind of way, especially during this time period. I'm pretty sure this album came out in 1996. I'm reading off a script, but around that time period, he made he made the Great Southern Trendkill, I think, in the same year with this album also, and both of the albums have a lot of similar meanings, except the Great Southern Trendkill is extremely, I guess you could say, the angry version of Nola, which it's kind of cool seeing both sides, a sad version of the time period of his mind, and then a really angry version of the time period of his mind at the same time. So it's something very interesting. My honest number review is an 8 out of 10 of this song. Now with that being said, let's go into Bury Me in Smoke. Necessarily what this song is about is Phil Anselmo. When he's going to die, he's satisfied with his life. He'll have no regrets, and he won't feel selfish to cling on to life necessarily and want to live more of his life, because he's done so many things, he's had so much fun, he's experienced basically almost everything life can give him. So when he dies, bury me in smoke. It's kind of a saying he has. I won't have any regrets when I'm going to die. My honest number review of this song is a 9 out of 10. It has an amazing riff, amazing opening. I love it. It's not my favorite song, but it's my second favorite song off of this album. Now, with that being said, let's go into some of the extra information about this album. Now, my honest thoughts about this album are pretty positive. It's a pretty heavy album, even though it's not necessarily super death metal necessarily, but it's very emotionally heavy. Weirdly, I really like it, and I really like the combination that this band did, especially with this album. This is a sludge band, but at times the songs do get soft. Now, that happens with bands like Acid Bath too, but I see it kind of a little bit different with how they do it. It feels more like a rock kind of sense or something like that. Other than that, I really like this album. This album came out in 1995 on Electrica Records. This album on the Billboard 200 hit number 57. And let's go into the lineup. The lineup of the people on this album is Phil Anselmo on vocals, Pepper Keenan on guitars, Kurt Weinstein on guitars and bass, Jimmy Bauer on drums, and Todd Strange on bass too. Now, when I mention the bass and guitars, I mean the person who was on bass and guitars, or let's say drums and vocals, wrote some of the stuff for those instruments. That's what I mean. You can't necessarily play an instrument at twice. It's really hard to do, but you can do it if you're doing vocals and guitars, or vocals and bass, at least what I've seen. Other than that, very positive for this album. I really like this album, and I really like this band. I really like this time period necessarily that Phil Anselmo was in. Well, I don't like where he was, but the way he expressed himself through music, two different sides. The Great Son of Trinkill, similar things, very anger driven, and then Nola with the downside, the sadness a part of it. It's really cool to see into a person's mind necessarily of both sides. Other than that, anyways, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you would like to see in the future, what I could try to do better, and please share this with some of your friends if you enjoy this, at least, and if you think they're gonna enjoy it. Anyways, other than that, I hope you enjoy, and this has been Chaos. Have a good one.